my project came to be through several different factors. First of all, Allen Central High School is consolidating with South Floyd at the end of the school year. And so I wanted my students to leave this school year with not only their own memories, but being able to appreciate what other rebels who have walked through our hallways have experienced. That was part of it. The other part is that this year, the juniors I have, it is a different type of classroom. When I walked in and I saw the shape of the classroom, not shape, but just, I guess, the mix of students in that classroom, I knew it may be a little bit more challenging. My students I have this year were not really interested in writing, and so I needed to find a way that they could be interested, get excited about it, which was a huge feat. But with this project, I was able to encourage a little bit more interest. What the project was, each student chose a former rebel. It could be a student, it could be a teacher, a past coach, anything. It could be their sibling. And what they would do with that is that they would interview the student, or they would interview the person, and it would have to be, they would have to record it. And then from that, we would transcribe the interview. The student would transcribe the interview. And from those notes, they would write an article. And the whole plan is that at the end of the year, so this is still in progress, we will create an online magazine that has all the students' articles, photos from their interviews, so that it can be a collection of memories from former rebels. And so the great thing about it is that the students did have a choice. I have a lot of football players in that first period class. And, you know, we've had a few years of success in the past, and this year was a very successful year for our football team. So they really enjoyed getting to talk to the members of the team from those few years ago and compare it to what was going on this year. And so that was really neat. There was also some new technology for students. With part of the grant, what we did is we purchased, we already had a really nice Nikon camera at the school, but we purchased a microphone to go on it, as well as a new lens and some lighting, which some students were able to use for their interview portion of the project. They also used Publisher for their articles. So they took pictures, they became reporters in a way, because they had to find those pictures. Some of them stalked people's Facebook pages to find photos of people from when they were in high school to include in their articles. So that was really neat. It allowed me to do mini lessons with them. As they transcribed their interviews, I showed them how to pick out certain quotes to use for their interview or for their article. And there was also editing, which this is still going on. Some of the pictures of the articles you'll see on this next slide, I know that we still have some issues that we're going to fix, but I took just a few screenshots, so I know you can't see it completely. But this lady had chosen the volleyball team. And she spoke to one of our other English teachers, Miss Sandy Warrens, who was part of the coaching staff on the first team. And this is a picture, I know it's kind of blurry, but this is a picture of the first Allen Central volleyball team. And now Miss Warren's daughter is a member of that team. So she went from being a coach to being a parent. She keeps stats, and she does a lot of stuff like that. So this student was really excited to be able to talk about volleyball. She really enjoyed it. And so you can see they're just... you know, the final battle, that was our football team's slogan this year. And so a lot of the students got really excited about that. And so I just kind of put some snapshots there of some of the articles. JROTC is a really important program at Allen Central. And so we had a lot of students who also participated in that. I think for the most part, my students really enjoyed it. They're obviously, with anything new, you know, we had a little bit of frustration. I had one student who was really, really determined to get an interview from her sister, who lives, I think it was Wyoming, but there were just some issues there, and so there was a little bit of encouragement and stuff, so we finally got it. But probably one of my favorite interviews that I got to watch, and I didn't include the video, but I included the photo, was from Coach Johnny Martin. Some of you guys may recall him from coaching Allen Central boys basketball team for a really long time. And I guess I really only knew Coach Martin, you know, as a PE teacher, and seeing that fiery side of him as he coached on the sidelines. But in this interview, he shared his favorite memory of coaching, and that was the moment, not necessarily when they won the regional tournament to go to state, but when he walked out onto the floor and he said the gym was packed and they were so excited. And I got kind of teary-eyed because he was getting teary-eyed in the video because it meant so much to him. And he said that's a memory that he will always cherish because of how much the community came out and supported him. And so I was really excited to have that. And we're actually waiting on one more interview. You guys may recognize the name Kenny Rice, who is an ESPN sports broadcaster. He's actually a graduate of Allen Central High School. And he has agreed. There have been just a couple scheduling conflicts, but we're hoping that for the final video that we'll put together that he will be able to be included in that. So it's been an excellent opportunity just for our students to kind of look and say, oh, you know, sometimes students get very caught up in me, you know, it's my world, it's my time. But especially with school closing, this was a chance for them to look and see the legacies that have gone through our hallways. And so I really hope that we can continue, not necessarily this because this is more of a farewell, but as we consolidate with South Floyd, next year, I would really like maybe to interview our freshmen and then interview them again as seniors and have just a nice little continuous project where we have that visual, because I feel like students just need to, they need to talk to each other. You guys know how it is, and adults are bad for it too, that we can text and we can communicate better in text than we can talking to people. And I really wanted my students to step out of that. For some of them, the biggest challenge was actually talking to somebody face to face. They were really nervous about that. But we practiced the questions in class before they went out for the interviews, and I think that helped for some of them. But overall, it's been a really positive experience, and I wish I had the picture of the backdrop. We were able to get a backdrop and some lighting that some of my students used for the interviews to make it look a little bit better. We were able to use it also for some yearbook photos. Some students who did not take the photo at school, we were able to use that as well. So that was pretty neat too. So I think that will be all. Thank you all.